All right, I think you're good to go, Steve.
Great, thank you. All right, everyone, welcome to this session of Ask an Expert. This will be on the Quartus software. So during the session, if you wouldn't mind keeping yourselves on mute, that way we could minimize any background noise. Background noise can be a little bit distracting since probably the majority of us have headsets on. That noise tends to get funneled right there in our headsets. So yes, please keep yourselves on mute. If you would like to ask a question, by all means, unmute yourself, ask the question, and we will address the question best that we can.
So,
All right.
did you want to introduce yourself, or should I introduce you, Steve?
Go ahead, Steve. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm Steven Strell. I'm going to be your moderator, and we'll go into the details of how that'll work in a moment. But Steve Elzinga is going to be your expert for today. He's been in our group for about 4 years, and prior in the FPGA training group in Intel FPGA, stationed in Colorado. Prior to that, he did video processing cores in FPGAs and was an application engineer. And you can see the list of his focuses right now on the slide. He's also a contributor in the Intel community forums. And if you want to contact him, there's his email address. So Steve, take it away.
All right, thank you, Steve, for that introduction. Okay, so first, just a couple slides, and we like to have these slides kind of get people thinking about different things about the particular topic, and also to I was just going to say it's advertisement just to let you know where resources are available. So here, easy access to resources, developers link. We have lots of documentation to be able to access and peruse. There are development tools, Quartus Prime support resources. Again, all these, if you go to Intel's main webpage, www.intel.com, and start searching from there, you can find this information. In fact, even if you do a Google search on Intel FPGA and training, you'll the Google search, like it's either the first or second link pops up to the main training page, and so you can go there. I am part of the training team. Steve Strell is part of the training team as well. So we have lots of collateral and material out there that we really want to get our customers exposed to, so they can learn more and be productive when it comes to developing their projects inside of FPGAs. So since this Ask an Expert session is focused primarily on Quartus, I decided to advertise some Quartus-centric training that's available. So here we have Quartus Software Basics. That's, if you're completely new to Quartus, new to FPGA designs, that would be the class for you to take. And then there's another class that's geared more towards experienced FPGA engineers, and that's using Intel Quartus software. We do go over timing analyzer as well. So there's a timing analyzer class that's the first part of it is lecture-based. The second part of it is workshop-based. It's not required that you take both of those. If you do take the workshop, though, it is expected that you understand timing analyzer and some constraints. The workshop is basically you go through a bunch of labs. There's another thing that we work on in the training team that's called quick videos. And quick videos are videos that are short-ish, 5 minutes, about 5 minutes long. And so what they do is they talk about a specific topic, 5 minutes in length. And that way you can look at the topic, do a search on it. If you find something that you're after, then you know it should be done in 5 minutes. And hopefully you'll gain a lot of good and useful information. Okay, so the ground rules. Any question you can think of about Quartus software is fair game. So lay it on me. You could do that, through the audio or in the chat window. Steve Strell, the moderator, he'll be monitoring the chat window. He'll be able to address the questions as they come in. That way I don't have to worry about focusing on the chat window. If it's a detailed design specific question, I will do my best to answer your question. When I do my trainings, I tell the participants in my training classes that I'm willing to indulge anything about FPGAs. If I feel like starting to get a little bit off topic, or it's a little bit too detailed about it, I'll probably punt. Try to track down your local FE and try to get help that way. So hopefully I can answer the question. most of the time, if I don't know the answer specifically, I'll give you my best guess based off of my years of experience. I'll let you know that I'm not confident or I'm not sure about it, but this is what would make sense. And if I'm really not confident about the answer they have, what I'll do is I'll just jot the question down and address that later. We send emails out showing where the link is, and I can provide answers to questions I wasn't able to answer during that time. All right. Okay, so Steve Strahl, he'll be the moderator. There are a couple ways that you go about do that. If you want to use your audio, just go ahead and unmute yourself. You'll see the little microphone icon in the Teams window listed there, or you can go ahead and type in the chat window. So two ways to ask questions. Whichever one you prefer, both are just fine. And with that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to kick the session off by going over some features. These are features that I like. I think all FPGA engineers should like these features too. Don't know how well known they are, so I will advertise them. Some of them are newish features, but regardless, I think they're features that are really good. One of them is the Design Assistant. So Design Assistant is a nice reporting tool that Quartus has that lets you know of potential issues that you have with your design. I say potential issues because you, as the designer, know best about your design and whether they are really issues or not. And so there's lots of rules that Design Assistant goes through. So it's like a DRC. To access it, inside of course, you go to Assignments, pull down menu, select Settings, and then Design Assistant Rule Settings. So right there, what you do is you can modify Design Assistant and the rules that are available inside there to suit more of your design needs. And so that's how you access it there. To look at the reports, and this is just one way to look at the reports. Here I've got Time Analyzer launched. You go to the reports, pull down menu, Design Assistant, and then look at the Design Assistant reports from within Time Analyzer. Now, the Design Assistant reports are not just limited to Time Analyzer. When you open up your reports inside of Quartus, there is a Design Assistant section that's listed there, and depending on the rules that you have checked, will determine what gets reported there. And like I said, the reports are based off the rules that Design Assistant has. You can go ahead and look at the reports and see if they are valid for your particular design scenario or not. So here, with when I went through and launched Design Assistant from the Assignments pull down menu, Settings, Design Assistant Rule Settings, this is the GUI that comes up. So you can go ahead and see all the rules that are available. You have the rules are active for your design when there's a little checkbox listed there. You can have the rules are also based off of various stages in the design flow. So for example, we have a stage listed right there. We see some that are synthesis, finalize, timing, sign off, and so forth. So Quartus Pro has many different stages through the design flow. You can go ahead and filter based off of the stage that you want. You can filter just based off the name. For example, we have the rules that we see here. RES, that's for resets, for your reset network inside your design. TMC, that's timing closure. So if a rule happens to be modifiable, when you highlight it, any modifications to the rule can be done here. So you go ahead and modify the rule to suit your design needs if you need to. Okay, see, I think covered pretty much what's on here, but just to highlight a particular category of the rules that we have here. So I talked about the stage before. So here we see a lot of timing, sign off, finalize, synthesis, but the category of the rule that we're talking about, these are all timing closure because they ended up doing a search for the particular rule TMC, and that's the category that we ended up here. So we see that there's a bunch of rules that you can go ahead, and like I said, you can deselect the rules if you need to, if you feel like that you're not interested in that rule. Now, another feature, I'm moving away from Design Assistant. Yes, go ahead, Steve.
Just my own personal question, actually. What different categories of rules are available besides timing closure?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a bunch. Let's see. There is stuff about reset, stuff about clock domain crossing, timing closure, of course. There is reset domain clock crossings. What else? There's like 10 different categories. I listed about 5 there. I can't think of the other categories. I'm gonna jot that question down. see if I can find a good definitive list here during the course of this hour. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it
Categories.
would be, it's that it's not just time enclosure, that the tool can check all sorts of different aspects of your design. So
Yes, thank you. Yeah, lots of different aspects. Like I said, there's like 10 different categories. In fact, I've got Quartus open. We could quickly do that. That's actually a good point, and hopefully be able to do this relatively painlessly. Let's see, assignment settings. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the rule settings.
maybe maximize your Quartus there, so it's a little easier for folks to see.
Okay. Right. Okay, design assistant. Slide that over there. Okay. All right, tags, categories. Okay, so let's take a look, see filter on that. Let's see, block-based design methods. Okay, okay, what would BBD stand for? Block-based design methods. So if you are doing a compilation of, if you need to compile your design of parts for whatever reason, there's a handful of different reasons why you want to do that. That's called a block-based design methodology. CDC, that's clock domain crossing, something specifically related to clocks, and so not CDC issues. Floor planning type rules. Netlist linting, and honestly, the netlist linting, I'm not I'm not exactly sure what the those rules are. Some of these categories I never had to concern myself too much. Okay, so netlist linting looks like on the form of optimization type rules for your netlist that the design goes through the different stages. Same single, yeah, okay. Project validation, we have a couple rules there. So INI variables, and so if you happen to have some variables set in your INI files, there's some rules on that. RDC, that's reset domain crossing, that we have specifically on reset networks. Timing closure, what I had highlighted before, and okay, yep, there we go. So those are the categories that are listed here. All right, thanks for the.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Steve,
Steve.
we have a question in the chat, which is kind of related to this, but also I think is going into timing analysis. Is there an easy way to do analysis of different temperature or speed grades based on a given implementation result? For example, run an implementation based on a C7G speed grade and analyze timing behavior at C8G or I6G. So in particular for Quartus standard, this person is asking about.
Okay.
That's in the timing analyzer, right?
Yeah, that'd be in the timing analyzer, but it looks like you're asking about different parts in particular. So I see a -C7G or -C8G or -I6G. So looks like we are talking about commercial and industrial grade
Yeah.
parts. So if there are different parts, and so specifically for that question there, if there's different parts, you'll actually have to change the part inside of your design. So this would be true for this would be true for Pro and Standard. So you just have to go in and change that part to the particular part that you're interested in. After that is done, and so after that is done in Pro, what Pro does for timing analyzer. Let me just open up timing analyzer just so we can.
The person's asking about standard. I think you can change the speed
Yeah.
grade in both, right? In the timing analyzer.
Yes. Yeah. So I didn't get a project ready for standard, so I apologize for that. But for right, so in Pro, and I'm pretty sure that standard works the same way. Let me just load this up here. When you run timing analyzer, it will run for all of the temperature and voltage variations for the particular part that you're currently that you've currently selected. So if you go to a different part like you have there, so for example, a -I6G, you'd have to go in and select that part and then run that, and then all the different voltage and temperature variations will, the reports will be generated for that.
Yeah, you can switch. I think you can switch between the same speed grade of the same parts. Like if you're on the commercial part, you could switch between speed grade 7 and 8 or whatever. But then you'd have to switch your target device for the project to industrial if you wanted to switch speed grades for that.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you, Steve. And thanks for the question. Let's see, there was a follow-up question, it looks like in the chat. Which
Nope.
version of Quartus is
It's just,
free?
yeah, it's a separate question. What version of Quartus is free for starting development?
Let's see, which version of Quartus? So there is a it comes in three flavors. Quartus comes in three flavors, so Pro, Standard, and Light. And Light is based off of the Standard. So whatever is the currently available for Standard is what you'd be able to download for Light.
Light is
So in other
basically
words, Light.
the free version of Standard, essentially.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Light's a free version of Standard, and so the latest versions that are released, that's also what's available for the free version. Great. Good questions there. Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. All right.
Keep going, or do you want some questions? Some other questions?
Let me go ahead and do these couple of
Okay.
slides. Then
Go for it.
Okay.
Go
All right.
for it.
Thank you. All right. So another feature. So I'm pivoting away from Design Assistant, which is a nice handy tool available inside of Pro and Standard, by the way. Another feature inside of Time Analyzer is the clock domain crossing report. And what we have here, and maybe people aren't aware of it, but the context menu. So the context menu is when you click, do a right button click on something inside of Quartus or something like that. That's the context menu. So here in the CDC report, this is what I did. I just did a right click on an area where I had problems with clock domain crossings. And right there, immediately available was a set faults path, which is part of what you need to do for CDCs. There's more you need to do for CDCs, but it's convenient. Just do a right click there, set faults path. GUI comes up, everything already populated based off the two clocks that I have there, and there's the SCC command. And so this is inside a Time Analyzer. If you were to run this command, it would run it inside a Time Analyzer and report based off of that way. So the command is not sticky until you save it to your SDC file. And when you exit Time Analyzer recognizes that you have SDC commands that you have entered in there. It will prompt you. It'll ask you, say, hey, do you want to save these SDC commands? So you can save it at that point, or what you can do is when this GUI comes up, copy and paste the resulting SDC command into your SDC file. So again, CDC report, just do a right click on there. Different options come up that way. And likewise, here inside Time Analyzer, this is the latest version, Pro version. I did a right click to illustrate cross probing, but there's also different paths that you have inside there. So there's different reasons why you may want to insert these SDC commands inside of Time Analyzer based off the reports that you have there. But just anyway, just highlighting the context menus that you have there. Illustrating here cross probing. You just got to go ahead and cross probe into chip planner. When you do that for this particular path, the path gets highlighted instead of chip planner. I brought up a little bit about cross probing because one feature, and again, features that I like, maybe people aren't necessarily aware of them. So I wanted to highlight them. When you're inside a Quartus itself, if you're on an entity or module, you could also cross probe that entire module inside of chip planner. So again, context menus, did a right click on there, locate node, and we're talking about an entity in this case here, located in chip planner. When you do that, we can see the modules highlighted. Now, this particular screenshot that I have other reports that I've done inside here. But if we look at the modules that I've cross-probed, I've got one called Instance 35, another called Instance 4. We can see those highlighted there. And what's nice about that, so I went ahead and turned off the routing hotspots report. With Instance 35, I can see that Instance 35 is kind of spread out all over the chip. And so it's nice to see cross-probing your modules into chip planner this way to see if communication for particular modules is happening the way you expect them. Now, in my opinion, the tools do a very good job at placing and routing your design. But sometimes, because there's a give and take as to what Quartus needs to do, sometimes you need to guide or coerce the tools that are doing something differently.
Hey, Steve.
Okay, so whoops. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
So that cross probing with SDC, does that actually write those commands into your SDC file? Is that's a new feature, or is that writing into your SDC file?
So no, this what happens here is that it will run the command. It will run the command inside a timing analyzer. So timing
Oh,
analyzer
okay.
will run the command. You'll need to regenerate the reports, but the command does not get written into the SDC file. That's something that you'll have to do when you exit timing analyzer. Timing analyzer will prompt you saying, "Do you want to write these SDC commands out to a file?" Or you can go ahead and copy, excuse me, copy the command here directly into your main SDC file.
Okay. A couple questions coming up in. So that's the end of your slides, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So let's dive into some more questions then. Does Quartus Lite work with the Stratix family or Aria, as being asked in the chat?
Oh, so I know that Quartus Lite worked with the Cyclone families. Oh, I'd have to check actually. I'm not going to try and answer that because I know I'm going to get it wrong. I don't know what devices are available inside of Quartus Lite. So let me write that down there.
Well, it
Definitely
certainly
the
comes
Cyclone
with
families.
it's Cyclone and Max.
Right.
And I honestly forget if you can access older Stratix devices in those. I don't think you can. Stratix 10 obviously is Pro only.
Yeah.
I don't know if the person asking is asking about older Stratix devices or not, but yeah, as noted in the chat, Stratix 10 is only supported in Pro.
Yeah. And I thought, and I'll have to double check on this too. I thought that there was a free version of Pro for certain Cyclone 10 devices.
Well, that's yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah.
that's
So
the two
I know
categories of Cyclone
that's
10s.
not.
You
Yeah.
got the Cyclone 10 GX, which are supported in Pro, and
Mhm.
then which are similar to ARIA 10 devices, and then the LP that are supported in Light and Standard.
So I think what I need to do here is what I could do in the follow-up email is have the list of devices that don't require a paid for license. So Quartus Lite, there's a list of devices like Steve was saying. There's the Cyclone family, and not all Cyclone devices, and Max 10
Yeah,
families. And I
it's a
thought there
little
was
confusing.
it is, yeah. I thought there was a Cyclone 10 GX that you could use for free inside of Quartus Pro. I seem to remember reading that.
That's the LP. So that would be in.
Well, the LP is in the standard. Yeah. Anyway, so let me do a follow up email outlining which devices you can target for free in the various Quartus softwares.
So another question in the chat, a person has sent me a link to a DE5 board from Teresic, which looks like it has a Stratix 5. That would require I wonder if Quartus Lite continues to support it. I do not believe would support that. You would need to use the subscription edition for Stratix 5.
See what board was that again?
It is
DE5, did you say?
a DE5 from Teresic, which I have never used before. So I'm just looking at
Okay.
it right now. I went to the link.
All right. Yeah, these are good questions. So the yes, I can't remember which devices you get for free with Quartus Lite and whatnot. So I will follow up and answer with that for these various devices. So these are good questions.
So somebody took a screen capture. They beat us to it.
Oh,
In
great.
the light edition supported Cyclone 10 LP, as I thought, and then the other Cyclone devices 4 and 5, ARIA 2 is supported, but not ARIA 5 or 10, of course, and then all the Max devices. So yeah, it's in the light free edition. It's all the low end free stuff. But yeah, Stratix starts with subscription edition.
Okay. All right.
Let's see, other questions we've got here. Let me check. We got some questions ahead of time from our forum that was posted. Let's see. Oh, do I have to use the text editor that comes with Quartus?
Okay. No, you don't have to. You can use whatever you want. The some people have their favorite text editors, or you get to a point where it's like, I don't know. I guess I got to the point where it's like I just don't care. But if you do, let's see if I can find where this is. I think it's
Text editors
yeah,
are a very
tools.
personal choice, Steve.
Yes, they are. Tools, options, and I thought it was in tools, options. It's probably not because I'm on the spot here. Um, there is a setting. Oh, I am on the spot. Oh, there we go. Preferred text editor. My
There
mouse
you
is
go.
right over there. So yeah, you can do a preferred text editor, and it comes, of course, comes canned with some things that people enjoy, or you can go ahead and specify custom and have a point to that if you want to. So no, you don't have to use the Quartus text editor. You can go ahead and use whichever one you prefer. Through Quartus. In fact, you don't even have to set this up inside of Quartus. You just use the text editor that you want and modify the files that way.
Okay. Well, this this is a pretty big question that I think we would refer back to um, the website. Can you give an overview of the difference between all the families, Mac, Cyclone, etc., sizes, gate equivalents, and technologies? That's
So
that's a huge
I
question. Do
can
you want to give a
summarize.
general overview?
Yes, I will. I'll give us a general overview, and Steve, feel free to fill in the gaps there.
Okay.
So let me start. I'm going to start with the newest, Agilex and Stratix 10. Those are what we call our hyperflex architecture. Hyperflex architecture because the architecture kind of adds more to what a traditional FPGA architecture deals with. And so when I say traditional, I'm talking basically a register lookup table type combination. Stratix and Agilex have a register lookup table combination, but in addition to that, it has registers like all over the place inside the routing infrastructure. And so that's why it's called Hyperflex. Also, the way the clocking is done inside of Stratix 10 and Agilex is a little bit differently. There's no concept of regional clocks anymore inside of Stratix 10 and Agilex. It's called a synthesizable clock tree network. What that means is that the clock is only turned on where it's needed. In places where it's not needed, it's turned off, and so that's the synthesizable clock tree network. Whereas in previous families, RE10 and older, there's the idea of global clocks and regional clocks, and those clocks would light up the entire region, whether regardless of whether there was resources inside there or not. Now, in all of our FPGA families, well, all of them, in Cyclone, Aria, and Stratix and Agilex, we have they come with they can, not all of them do, they can come with hardwired processors inside there, ARM processors. Now I'm not going to pretend to know the variants of the ARM processors inside of all the FPGA families, but there's ARM processors that are hardwired inside there. And that goes back even to the Cyclone 5 Cyclone 5 part that's supported in standard. Let's see. So differences also would be now the gate count. The Agilex and Stratix are going to be the highest density chips. Lowest density chips would be the Max 10 part. Max 10 traditionally has been called CPLDs, but the latest iterations of the Max 10 are if you're open up and look at the architecture, it's essentially FPGAs where you've got your standard flip-flop lookup tables combinations. Each one of those families will have each one of those families. I don't know about the Max 10, but I know Cyclone. When I say Cyclone, I'm talking all numbers of Cyclone and Aria and Stratix. In Agilex, they have gigabit transceivers for high-speed communications and so forth. I don't know. Anything else you feel I should add there, Steve?
It's a huge question. I mean, it's the website would clearly be the best place to go for the level of detail I think this person might be looking for. But I think you gave a good general overview of the different families. It used to be easy. I always used to say, we got 3 families, low, middle, high, which was Cyclone, Aria, and Stratix. But then we got Agilex, which got on top of that, and then we got the Max family, which is below all of that. So I don't know. That's it's hard to describe all that in a short amount of time. Let me see what other questions. This is a question near and dear to my heart. I don't know if you've ever been asked it's Steve, but are we going to support Quartus in Mac OS? And I wish I could say yes to that, but I'm pretty sure that's not in the cards, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, it's never been in the cards from what I understand. And you think it would be kind of a slam dunk, right? I mean, we support it on Linux, and Mac OS is a variant of a Unix operating system. But at the end of the day, they have to draw the line as to what are they going to test, what are they going to compile for the various OSs and whatnot. And so I also think it'd be really cool if supported Mac OS, but I guess the user base just isn't there to justify the engineering work to make it happen.
Okay, Steve, here's a question that might be about your quick videos, which I know that you're in charge of. I'd like to see more video documentation regarding to USB, how to configure multiple endpoints, basically the deep detailed info, PCIe, similar
Hmm.
idea as for USB, DDR, theory and application. Any plans for that? If you can cover the others, I can talk about DDR if you want me to, but you can do the others.
Yeah. So okay. So quickly, there's nothing on the roadmap as far as quick videos for something like that. But that is actually very good input. Internally, we're we try to decide what we need to produce quick videos about, and so we don't have maybe we don't have the proper feedback mechanism for our customers to say it's like, oh, they really need to see more documentation or information about this. And so this is actually excellent feedback. So Steve, would you mind listing the USB stuff that the person was interested in?
I will take a note about that.
Okay, thank you. And then the DDR, did you want to say anything about the DDR?
Um, I don't know if I have, so I don't know if we have any quick videos on DDR, but I certainly have a lot of online training, recorded online training in the course catalog about external memory interfaces and the different families. So I've got a series on for external memory interfaces for Agilex. I've got a series for ARIA 10 and Stratix 10, and I've got an older series for the lower end devices. So there's lots of available online training available, recorded online training available about external memory, if that's what you're talking about with DDR. Theory and application is asking the question. Theory, I briefly in those online trainings talk about how DDR works, but mostly focus on the application part of it, using Quartus to implement an external memory interface.
And in fact, those DDR trainings that Steve Strel has done are being localized. I know we're reaching probably the primarily the English speaking crowd here, but they're being localized to Mandarin and Japanese too. So I think there's enough popularity there to justify the localization.
Hey, let's see. We got more questions coming on. Can you please make Quartz faster? Compilations, even on the fastest machines, are too slow. Are there any plans for a rewrite or an optimization of this tool? Ooh, I don't know what to say to
Yeah.
that one, Steve.
So yeah. So no, I mean that's an ongoing issue. Internally, we're very well aware of the trade-offs between FPGA densities and making compilations faster. It's something that they're continually working on. So yes. So to answer your question, yes, we can make it faster. We're trying to. It's on the top of everyone's list every release, and so we are cognizant of that. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. In Quartus, here's a good question. In Quartus, what is the best way to get started with soft cores like the Neos 2 processor that can run a flavor of Linux within the FPGA? And what version of soft core would you recommend best? I see that you have a new Neos 5 version. What is the main difference between Neos 2 and Neos 5? So I don't know how
So
much you've looked into Neos 5, but I can answer some of that, Steve, if you need me to.
yeah, no, actually, I was going to say Neos 5. I'm not as up on it as Steve is. He's actually our in-house platform designer specialist in that area. So the question is very opportune. So Steve, if you wouldn't mind, yeah, feel free to tackle that question.
So let's see. The best way to get started. Well, Neos 5 is only supported in Pro right now. So unless you're using a device supported in Pro, ARIA 10, Stratix 10, or Agilex, you cannot use Neos 5 right now. Neos 2 is available for all devices, all families. And so if you want to get started with a simple to use soft processor, 32-bit core, Neos 2 is definitely the way to go. Which version of softcore? Yeah, it's not as much a version as what is supported in your device at this point. Neos 2 is supported on all the cores. We actually had a Neos 5 Ask an Expert session a few months ago, which was very popular. We're going to be having another one later this year. But the flow is a little bit similar to Neos 2. It's not exactly the same, but it's still just, you're still adding an IP to your design and then compiling your project. And the basic hardware design is still going to be the same. But if you are not using the Pro Edition, then the core to go with would be Neos 2. And we've got lots of design examples and lots of online training available for that. Did you want to say anything, Steve, or should we go to more questions?
No, more questions. Thanks for addressing that.
Sure. Is a license required for Quartus Lite to use the timing analyzer? I compiled a max design in Quartus and got an error on timing analysis license required. Want to call that
is
one?
interesting.
That is very interesting.
Well, yeah, no, so the only thing that so when you install Quartus Lite, you could install the devices that Quartus Lite supports. All of these are supposed to be license free. The only thing that you would necessarily need a license for in a case like this would be, if you wanted to use the IP catalog, and you have to pay for a separate license with that. Otherwise, you should be able to generate everything for those devices, from start to finish, HDL code all the way go through, the whole fitting process, including timing analyzer. So the fact that you got an error message in timing analyzer saying that license is required is very curious, and it actually sounds a lot like there's a bug in the software there.
I don't know if it's a bug. It sounds they could be using, like you said, a licensed IP. So if there's a licensed IP in their design, that could be what's going on there. It's weird that it's when they're using the timing analyzer though. So I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that coming up with an error in timing analyzer saying license required is odd. If it were an IP that were licensed, I would expect that error to come up in another place and not timing analyzer.
Yeah. All right, let's get some other questions. Oh, I just put a link in the chat to the Intel FPGA videos page that has the newest quick videos, so people can
perfect. Thank you.
Go there. Let's see. We already asked. Okay, we did that. Can I associate an SDC file with a specific module in my design? I think somebody wants to constrain a particular part of their design.
Oh, good. Yes. So this was a feature that was added to Quartus. It's been a couple of years, but it's nice because sometimes you want to constrain the SCC file to a particular region. And so I hope this project has an SDC file, and it does. Okay, good. So with the SCC file, if you know the particular modules you want to constrain it to, so it's kind of a roundabout way. So it's not completely visible. Maybe it's not completely apparent. But what you do, so I ended up doing a right click here on this SDC file, my project, select properties, and from there, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back into view. Expand this a little bit. Okay. So we see the file type is Synopsys Design Constraint File. What you do is you change the file type to Synopsys Design Constraint File with entity binding. So it's called entity binding in this case. Then once you've done that, you're able to select a particular entity that you want to associate that SDC file with. So that way, the SDC commands in that file will be associated only with that entity.
And that's a pro-only feature, unfortunately, right?
Yes, a pro-only feature.
Okay. Let's see. Do I need Quartus if all I want to do is download and or program my device?
Oh, okay. So I think what you're referring to there. So we do have a special lab install of Quartus. So what you do, so there's when you go to the download page, I'm going to, forgive me, I'm not going to try and fumble around in our download page. When you go to the download page,
I'll look for the
you
URL.
have, oh, thank you. There's various options that you can select, as far as what you want to download, and what's with this person's question, what you're after there in this particular case is the lab install, and what it will do is it will just download only the tools necessary to connect to your board to download the SOF file. So no, you don't need a full install of Quartus to be able to do that.
Yeah, that program or download also includes Signal Tap, if you're familiar with that tool. So if you don't need a full installation to work with the design that includes the Signal Tap logic analyzer. Let's see. Oh, this one I don't know if you know offhand, because I'm not sure I even know it offhand. Can you please mention the cost for licenses, Pro, Standard, and Light? So Light is free.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Light is free. The Pro and Standard, there's like a difference of $1,000 at one time. I looked it up years ago, but I haven't since then. I'm sure prices have changed, and so I'm going to give you, vaguish responses, and you can't hold me to it.
I've actually just since I was looking for the download for the programmer, actually right there, Steve. So a Pro standalone license right now is $36.45, and I think the Standard edition, like you said, is about $1,000 less than that, so $26.45 or something these days.
No, actually, just to break in real quick, we changed to a single pricing model. So the price is $36.45, and you get Pro and Standard and everything with it. So that changed last year.
I had not heard that, Joel. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right. Let's see. Another question. For my near future project, I need a Cyclone 5, but there's not much stock to make a choice. What do you recommend to the supplier? I don't know if that's kind of in the realm of what we can answer in this. We're kind of focusing on Quartus. So I don't that you need to contact your salesperson.
Yeah, we don't have answers to that. The part of the trading team, we're moved away as far as availability of parts. Your best bet at that point is to contact the vendor, or if you have an FE, to find out what the lead times are for these devices. I know there's been a crunch on semiconductor, for a variety of reasons, specifically because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't have that kind of insight into what's available right now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see. Some other questions that have been asked before the class. How do I script my project if I don't want to use the GUI? You want to talk a little bit about scripting and command line, Steve?
Yes. Okay. So what I like to do, this is just a personal preference. If I need to get a project going, because I'm not so familiar with scripting itself. I know the ways to go about doing that to help me do that. But what you can do, I always get the project going with the GUI, and then maybe run through a compilation or something like that, and then create a script if I need to have my flow a little bit more automated. But what you can do is let's see if I can get. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there it is. So in the project pull down menu, generate tickle file for project. And so when you do that, it will actually create, so let me bring this window into view here. It'll create a tickle file based off of what you've done so far. Just hit OK. Oh, let's see. I already did it for this project, it looks like. So then tickle file gets created, and what we have there is a script that goes inside there. Now, also, what you can do is you can go ahead and open up the log files inside there, and you can go ahead and copy and paste from there. But I believe this is probably the easiest method. Just go into the projects pull down menu to create a tickle script that way. Then from there, you kind of kickstart your script for your Quartus project.
Screen is a tad blurry. Oh, there it goes, Steve. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say, or should I go on with the questions?
That's it. More questions.
Okay. This one I don't even. This might be something that I haven't heard of. Do you plan to integrate the toolchain build in Platform IO? Is that an embedded processor toolchain? I have not. Have you heard of Platform IO, Steve?
No, I haven't.
Okay. If you could
Maybe
elaborate a little
the
bit more on that question, we could try to answer that for you. Let's see some more questions. Can I do schematics in Quartus?
Yes, you can. Every now and then when I do a class, people still are interested. Okay, they're rare, admittedly, but you can. So if you want to do a schematic, let's see, file new. There we go. Okay, bring this window into view here. So in the file new, you can go ahead and select the file type that you want, and one of them is block diagram schematic file. And so there it is. And so you go ahead and start doing things in schematic. And so just your plain old school schematics. But yes, if you want to do a project in schematic, and people have their reasons. I remember one class I was teaching at, I was kind of giving them a hard time. I was like, oh, we're it's schematic, and I felt bad afterwards after I gave them a hard time. It was like, oh well, it's because we had this design that we had to bring back. It was created years ago. We had to bring it back. It was all schematic based. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, there are some granted they're rare, but there are definitely valid reasons why people would still need or want to do schematic designs. But yes, answer your question. Yeah, that's still available as an option.
Okay. Let's see, what else have we got here? Mixed language support. So what's the mixed? I'm presuming this is mixed HDL languages support in Quartus and probably in the simulation tool as well.
Yes. So mixed language support is definitely supported. So if you some people have their favorite HDL they want to do, Verilog or VHDL, and maybe other team members, want to do, what is it you're not doing. Yeah. So there's no problems with mixed language support. Tools support that. That's I know years ago there was a push to do mixed language support because HDLs were becoming a lot more popular in schematic at that time, and then people were realized like, oh, we want to be able to mix the languages in there. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is that's been something that's been tackled and supported. It's there. It's a known quantity. If you want to do mixed language inside your design, there's no problems there.
QuestaSim, which is what we include with the special starter edition of QuestaSim. That is mixed language support for simulation as well.
Yes.
So
yes, that's correct.
Yeah, back in the day, no, it was always either Verilog or VHDL for simulation, but we added mixed language support for that a few years back as well. So here's another question in the chat. Can you design for Intel FPGAs with MATLAB? What options exist here, and what are their main differences?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So the tool that you want to use to design, if you want to say design with MATLAB, and what you'll end up using is a tool called Simulink. There is a tool called DSP Builder, and what DSP Builder does is it takes the M code, the MATLAB code, and compiles that to I think it's VHDL. It's either VHDL or Verilog. I think it's VHDL. It compiles it to VHDL, and then from there, Quartus will take the VHDL files and run it through. So basically, it's kind of like high-level synthesis, but it's dealing with the MATLAB code. So to circle back on there, what the tool that you want in this case is a tool called DSP Builder. And that's something that you can download off of Intel's website. It works in conjunction with Quartus. DSP Builder also works in conjunction with Simulink to be able to bring in your M code in there. And basically, you connect up the M code in blocks like a schematic to do your design that way.
In the same download center with Quartus, right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, same download center with Quartus. You'll
Okay.
see the tool there called DSP Builder.
Okay. Let's see, what else have we got? So we got about 8 minutes left. So please, folks, start getting in your final questions. We're almost at the end of our session here. Let's see. Okay. Why does my design fail timing when I make a small change? So, Steve, you might want to
Okay,
talk
this
about,
okay. I'll probably
seeds and
yes,
such.
I will. I'll probably wax a little bit philosophical here. It could take the rest of the 8 minutes here, but okay. So it happens all the time. I do it. Customers do it. Talk about it. And so the thing so with Quartus, so if you look at Quartus has this unique problem it's got to solve, in that you've got this design, and how am I going to place and route it? Now, if we were to take a design, a trivial design, a contrived example, just one register, you look at all the various places that one register could be placed inside of an FPGA. And then you're going to come back to me and say, well, Steve, that's trivial. Any one of those solutions is just as good. It's like, well, okay, you're right. But nonetheless, it has all those places where it needs to place those. It needs to place and route them somehow. So as you can see there, I mean, the possibilities, start rising exponentially from there. You two register designs. Okay, not only do you have all those register places, now you've got all those register places minus one, and the tool's got to figure out, where to place those. And again, you're going to tell me, like, well, Steve, it's two register design. The solution is trivial. It is. But now you have a bona fide design out there, and the tools need to figure out how to place and route that. It is kind of a long-winded answer, but I feel a little bit of this background is necessary. It's got to figure it out somehow, and so it can't exhaustively try every scenario. It has to start at some spot. So there is something called a seed, and the term seed is kind of overloaded because there is a seed value that you could change in a compiler setting, but there's a seed number internally to the tools, and the tools has this seed number, and the seed number is used to tell the tools, I'm going to start placing and routing the design at this location in the FPGA. And that seed number is, I'm going to say it's pseudo-random. It's based off of the design files, the version of course you're using, the operating system you're running on. Is it Windows versus Linux, for example? So if you change your source files, that will change this number that gets generated pseudo-randomly, this seed number internally. So while you may have made a trivial design change, what happened was that this seed number changed. The tool started looking for a solution to your problem in a different spot in the FPGA. And the tools ran with that. And sometimes what happens is, and it's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the game. Sometimes what happens is that what was passing timing before is no longer passing timing, and it's because of this. And the whole process of this place and route process inside of Quartus is called to do this is it was termed simulated annealing, and so they're finding local minimums and maximums. Anyway, that's kind of like I said, I was going to wax a little bit philosophical there. I guess not so philosophical. That's how things are done, but it is kind of a longish answer to a question like that. Hopefully that addresses the question there.
And did you want to talk about maybe the Design Space Explorer and how that can help you further optimize?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I do want to talk about Design Space Explorer. So there's a so I mentioned that the term seed is a little bit overloaded there. So let me get to assignments settings. Let's see if we can get this quickly here. We go to compiler settings, advanced settings fitter. So in here, where is the seed number? Oh, there it is. So this is by default 1, and you can change this to whatever number you want. One number is going to be better than another number. It's going to be completely design dependent. In most cases, you're going to want to do it when your design is done, because like I said, when you change your source code, that tweaks this internal seed number. So that's why I said it's overload. We have this external number called seed, and we have this internal number that the tools use called seed as well. You can go ahead and do what's called a seed sweep. A seed sweep you do when your design is nearing completion. You want to eke out, just a little bit more performance in your design. You could do a seed sweep, and what a seed sweep is you go through and you iterate through different seeds. Start off with 1, 2, and we recommend somewhere between 5 and 10 seeds. That should be good. That should you should be able to detect the variance of your design. And I say variance, are you going to get any more design improvements, or are there going to be any less? So you can do that, what's called a seed sweep. Now, doing a seed sweep is made easier by a tool called Design Space Explorer. And let's see here. Design Space Explorer, and what Design Space Explorer does is, so it's going to want to take over my project. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes. You launch it up, and so not only does Design Space Explorer allow you to do seed sweeps relatively easily, so you don't have to go there and monitor the GUI or figure out how to write your tickle script if you're not so comfortable doing that. Just go ahead and launch Design Space Explorer, set up the various options there, and okay, I'm just going to jump to the exploration space. Exploration points. So here, design exploration, I can go ahead and select all compilation strategies. So these are all the compilation strategies that you get inside of the compiler settings. So I want to try this one and this one and this one and this one. So as you can see here, you're gonna blow up your computer with all these compiles. You want to do it on a long weekend. And in addition to that, you can do a seed sweep. To find an optimal performance for your design. So in short, that's what Design Space Explorer does. There is an online training that goes through Design Space Explorer. It's a little bit on the old side, but Design Space Explorer hasn't changed much. I mean, essentially, it does the same thing as what it does when the online training was created a number of years ago. The online training is also available on YouTube, and so you can go ahead and do a search on there. So briefly, that's what Design Space Explorer is and what it can do for you in conjunction with, I made a small design change, what happened there, the whole idea with seeds and how the tools try to find a solution to your design space and whatnot.
All right. I think that's gonna be it then, Steve. You go back to the slides there.
Yeah, let's see.
There we go.
Great.
So if you go to the end there, we can finish up.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, Steve, you wanna finish up there for us?
Yes, I will finish up. Thank you. So thanks everyone for attending. Thanks for the excellent questions. I did jot down the questions. I think one thing in particular, the list of available devices. I just want to make sure I nail that as far as what you need licenses for, what you don't need licenses for. So I'll go ahead and send a reply out with that. But thank you for attending this session. Like I mentioned before, the session was recorded. It'll be available on our website to listen to as well. And that's it. And so if there's no other questions,
I'm putting the chat. I'm putting the survey link in the chat right now.
Great.
So,
yes, there's surveys there. So please take some time to fill out the surveys. And let us also know if there's a particular topic that you're interested in for the Ask an Expert session.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for attending. We'll leave this open, and we're gonna stop the recording in a moment. Thank you for attending. We have one each month, and we will talk to you all soon. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.